Hi everyone, welcome to the Smith & Sons podcast. I'm joined in the studio again today by Matt Glen from Century 21 out of Kelowna. Welcome back, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Where we chatted a little bit more of in a general sort of terms in our last episode.
Yeah.
And we want to drill down on something that is important to you, that you sort of, you've got a vested interest in, if you like.
Yeah.
And it's more around the lines of property investment.
Yeah.
And so, if you're in the audience and you've got a bit of an interest in this, then this segment could maybe, give you some options and something to think about. So, this is fairly, unrehearsed. And so I'm going to get you to lead out. And obviously, what we're trying to do is give me a bit of a snapshot as to the reasons why you invest, because you are a property investor at the same time as being a realtor.
Yeah, I'm the realtor because I was an investor.
Right. So you started like in the investment sector and you went, okay.
Yeah, I do it. I practice everything I preach.
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody should have a rental property.
So
right?
why you've chosen realty or real estate because you like it?
Yeah.
So what's your end game look like? And then I'd love to reverse engineer and then everything going forward. You're obviously going somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, what does your end game look like?
Well, my end game is to create enough passive income so I can cash flow enough to be wealthy and retire. Not retire, but
sit
be
on the
financially
beach
free. Yeah.
Sip martinis and watching the sun go down.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't take much. All you just need a plan and you just work towards it.
Okay.
It's not that hard. Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So, I don't know. And is that representative of a dollar? Like you're saying, okay, I need 200 grand a year in income, or it just depends on the individual, obviously, how much money they need. But let's say I wanted. Let's talk to me. Use me as a guinea pig. I need 150 grand a year. Yeah. So, because I've still got 6 kids. They're all still living at home. So I got my hands full.
Yeah.
But let's say I'm shooting for, in the next 20 years, I want 150 grand in some sort of trailing income from real estate.
Yeah, so
Go.
150 grand, what is that? 11,000 a month or so, 12,000 a month. So
close enough.
like you just use that per rental property. So every rental property you get will cash flow X amount, hopefully around $500 or $1,000 a month of cash flow.
Right.
And then you can use that. So once you build up enough rental properties, you'll have enough cash flow to retire at $12,000 a month. Like my goal right now is to get $10,000 a month.
Right.
Which I should be at in the next few years. And then I'll...
So how, obviously that would be, you need that, if that's coming into your pocket, that would need to be a net amount. Like obviously you've got, there's upkeep, occasionally you're going to be doing maintenance and renovations.
Rental properties make money in so many ways. Like, so you have cash flow, which is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So your rents are more than all your fees. So your rent is more than your mortgage, your taxes, your insurance, your maintenance fees.
So what's left is what's
left is cash flow, positive cash flow, right? So the first one I bought is cash flow is about $700 or $800 a month. Second one I bought, the same, maybe a little bit more.
Right.
So I'm at just under $2,000 a month in cash flow right now.
Yep.
So with just those 2 properties, right? So this year, hopefully add a few more on, get that higher up. And it's kind of nice to have I'm just talking about cash flow, but rental properties make money in so many ways. You have the cash flow, which is from the rents. You have the property appreciation.
Yep.
In the Okanagan, properties are going up right now 1 or 2% a month. Mm-hmm. So it's projected to go, I've seen some projections of 10% this year.
Yeah.
Could go higher, could go lower. You're also paying down your mortgage with every rent. The mortgage is getting paid down, so your equity position's building bigger and bigger, and you can use that equity to buy more rental properties. That's what I did with my first 2.
So how was your ability to go to the number 2 and 3rd property? Let's say if I'm just working a job and I'm making 75 grand a year, do you eventually tap out? In other words, all of a sudden I can't get away with just putting 5 or 10% down.
Well, you need, for a rental property, you need 20% down. Yeah. Okay. So, but your equity will grow quite a bit faster. And then you have 3 properties, 4 properties, all building equity. Yep. It grows, it's exponential how fast it can grow.
So is your growth situation or your growth trajectory compromised by your own, let's say, personal income? Or is it all leveraged against the income of the property, the capital appreciation?
So the rents, you can use the rental income, depending on your lender, you can use some of the rents to cover the mortgages to cover the mortgage payment, right? Yeah. So, and also as you get more experience, banks will know that and kind of use your experience as a landlord to help you get approved for more. So once you get it to a certain amount, you definitely have to go more creative financing, not just A lenders all the time.
Right.
So there is options. There's a lot of different options. Basically, the only thing holding you back there is your mindset. You just have to figure out a way to get through it.
So what about, okay, so let's talk about the types of pieces of real estate. So obviously you're talking about single detached dwellings.
Yeah, the best investments are houses with suites. They cash flow the best, they're the safest. If you have one vacancy, like say one tenant not paying rent, you're at least getting partial rent from the other one.
So you're talking minimum 2 streams of income out of that one.
Per minimum.
So you sort of duplex or up and down.
Up and down, or however it works, right? Whatever kind of the property is.
Okay.
But the best thing to do is how you can grow the quickest is the BRRRR method, like to buy, reno, refinance, rent, right? So you buy a house at Fixerupper, you renovate it. So the best thing to do is buy a house that doesn't have a basement suite. You renovate a basement suite into the house. So now you've added so much equity into that house because those add the most value.
Right.
A house with a suite. So as soon as you've done the renovation, you rent it out, and then you go to the bank and you refinance all your equity out. So you pull out all the money that you put into that property, and now you have a cash flowing property, and you have enough down payment for another one, so you can just keep on going.
And so that doesn't ever have a shelf life where you can keep that rolling if growth continues and things like that.
Yeah, I'm sure that once you get to a certain number, you're going to have a harder time getting financed.
Yeah,
but there's ways around it. You just have to open your mind
because that would be sad for you to get to $5,000 a month in trailing income, and all of a sudden you've peaked. That you can't get through that ceiling.
I promise you that is not going to happen. Yeah.
Let's put this in cases of beer.
Yeah, that's that. Like if you just said you got a no from a lender and then you called it quits, that would happen. But
yeah. So look, one thing you said, part of that BRRRR method is buy a Fixerupper. I think that's what everybody's doing. Like, tell me honestly,
that's not what everybody's doing.
How hard is it to find a Fixerupper, dude?
Everybody, when I work with clients, almost everybody says, I want a Fixerupper. Then you show them some Fixeruppers, and they don't want a Fixerupper. They want a nice house, right? So it happens. It's almost every client that I have. Yeah.
Really?
They want a house that's nice and finished.
It's funny, I on the last episode, I talked about that when we moved to town, it was really hard to get a rental place. Yeah. So I would, ring a realtor, and he would say, well, there's a property that's coming on the market tomorrow, but I can't get access to it. So if you want to do a drive-by. And so I'd go and do a drive-by and go, I would like to inspect that property tomorrow. And he'd go, no, too late, I've already rented it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah. And so, with that dynamic happening in the marketplace, which is still fairly, is pretty much the way it is today. Yeah. Then I went and looked at this farmhouse. Yeah. And 3 other couples that had walked through it. And when I walked through it, like I said to the realtor, I said, look, I need a place. Yeah. And I said, have you got anything? And he said, well, there's a farmhouse on an apple orchard you can go and check out. And he said, but it's not pretty. And I said, okay, look, I'm happy to look at anything at the moment. And I said to him, when can I meet you there? And he says, I won't be meeting you there. The key's hanging up in the garage. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, he's told me it's not pretty, and he doesn't even want to meet me there. Yeah. And it was rotten. I opened the door, and it was the Fixerupper, exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. And so he, this guy made an offer to me. He said, look, if you're happy to renovate it, we'll pay you to do it, and we'll obviously there's a pretty good rental discount that we'll give you. Yeah. And he had 3 other couples look at it, and none of them would go for it. So that kind of is in line with what you're saying. Yeah. But because I think the other, to me, being a builder and a carpenter is that what we call manufactured growth. Yeah. So you get in there. So you get in there and find a place. Yeah. So look, the thing is, essentially, if I was to go in and do that like I did for the realtor on my place, essentially I did that at wholesale. Yeah. And, the only challenge I have in talking about this strategy, because I'm big on that, is that not everybody has got my skill set. Yeah. Not everybody has got my contact network. Yeah. So what it means is it puts a little bit more financial back pressure on them because they can't go and do what I do. Yeah. I can grab my 12-foot trailer full of my tools and I can go and do a reno. Yeah. Essentially, I'm doing that component of work at wholesale. Yeah. But I think with the demand, especially in this region, you could pay full retail and still do okay as far as manufacturing growth. Yeah, and if you renovated smart.
Yeah, you just work it into the numbers. It doesn't matter if it costs how much it costs as long as the numbers work out, right? And also you got to factor your own time in. Like how fast can you do it compared to how fast can I do it? I did my own renovation, right, and it took forever, right? And at the end, it looks like I did my own renovation. Right. With you, it's like not going to be that way. In and out. You can still make money. You can still do it. It's still fun. Because renovation can be extremely taxing. Like we lived in our house.
Right. Tell us about that. Yeah.
Oh my Lord. We did the laundry room first. Becca bought hot plate. So our kitchen was our laundry room for however long to do it. And it's taxing. Like we have 2 dogs and it was honestly pretty hard to do that.
Yeah. And I think that's where, I guess, for the listener that they, we often get clients that'll come to us and say, oh, Max, we want to take care of the demo and then we want to do this. And I honestly hear what they're saying and their motivations are good, fiscally responsible, but what they don't take into consideration is the taxing part that is on you when you have to. It's a timeline. You got to get through it and you got to live with it.
Yeah,
and then you got to go to work on Monday.
Yeah, it's also a happiness factor. It's hard to do that. Like clearing out buckets of plaster.
Yep.
Is fun for 1 bucket. Make that 150 and it sucks, right? And it's like, nope, not doing this.
So the thing is, and two, like a lot of the time is we're dealing with homeowners mostly.
Yeah.
But I think if you're an investor or you're a fledgling investor and you want to really kick ass and take names, then my advice, and you'll probably agree with something like this, is that you time is money. So
I'm not doing it.
Like if you can get access to that property that you just bought, before the thing closes, you can get, early get in there early and start renovating.
Well, start like measuring maybe, or
you want to be able to rent that thing out ASAP. Essentially, you want that thing making money as quickly as you can.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So that's another reason, and I guess if you are an investor out there, how do you find the right builder? I mean, I know how you would find it, but how do your clients who buy, when they go, oh yeah, I'm going to buy this Fixerupper off you, Matt, can you give me the name of a good builder? Yeah. Because you just promised them and said, oh, this is what you can do. And you talked to them about the Burr method and everything like that. And now okay, I'm not going to do the reno myself. Now I've got to find a builder. Now
That's
what
a hard
do you do?
part. That is I deal with this all the time. That is a very hard part to do. Like they're busy, right? And are they going to, it's not just finding a builder that can do it. It's kind of builder, how much it's going to cost? How long will it take? When can you start? It's hard. It's not an easy thing. That's why a lot of people don't do it. But meeting Max.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I got one guy in Vernon here, and he's almost into Christmas. Like you won't get him. He's like, if you can wait till next spring, this is how he's talking. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I just can't believe it. Yeah. But I think that's important. Is a lot of that networking part of it. Yeah. There is definitely a lot of pressures on the let's call it the mom and pop investor. Yeah. And there's just a lot of grit that it takes to push through. Oh yeah. I mean, you haven't got kids yet?
No, not yet.
You still got 2 dogs?
Yeah, 2 dogs.
So you're going through a couple of kids into the mix, and then go and do that reno you did. Dogs are one thing.
I'm not doing it now, right? That's it. I've tapped out. Yeah.
So why? And so you think you would rather me come in as an operator, as a builder? Yeah. I make money from doing renos. Yeah. You're literally like, I just want this done. Tell me how long. Yeah. What am I getting? When's it going to be finished by? Yeah. And then you're automatically going to rent that thing out. That's the way you're thinking.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah. For my own property too, you kind of want to know how far it's going to take for you to renovate your own house that you just bought.
Yeah.
Or the one that you've been living in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, I think what else anything else we want to talk about?
I just right now, interest rates are so low, right? They're
money's cheap.
It's so cheap, and everybody has so much equity. If you just bought a house a few years ago or not that long ago, property values are going up. They are in Kelowna, they are in Vernon too. Mm-hmm. You have the money and you can refinance it, pay off some other debt, your high interest credit card debt, and probably have enough money to do a nice renovation. Mm-hmm. And in your end, your payments will probably be cheaper than they are now, and you'd have a nice kitchen.
So on the flip side of people going down that track, is it fair to say that, that is the priority? Obviously when you're trying to create 10 or 12 grand in, sort of trailing income from residential properties or whatever, then the flip side of that is, and I'd love to talk about this and maybe get your point of view, is that you can't go and live like a rock star and build a real estate portfolio. Unless your job's paying you 300 grand a year or whatever. I think I guess we're just going to talk to the general marketplace. It would make sense that you are very frugal in how you live and what you spend your money on currently.
With today's interest rates, if your mortgage right now is at 3.5%, and you can refinance for 1.25 or 1.5, that, your payments, even if you consolidate all your debt into your mortgage and take out some extra to do a renovation, your payments are most likely going to be lower than they are today. So it'll help you. Sure. And the values are going up so fast, no end in sight, it seems.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could go wrong.
All right, Matt, what's the final thought of the day as it relates to property investment? Do it now, or is that one being stolen?
Well, no, do it
Just
yesterday.
Do it yesterday.
Like I wish I did it yesterday. Yeah, I wish I knew this when I was 21.
Yeah.
Right. And I just can't believe how many benefits there are. Like there really is no downside. I have a good time every single day.
Yeah.
It's fun buying a house. It's fun renting a house. It's fun. You meet your tenants. It's lots of, like, it's just a good time. Also, you're making lots of money, right? And the passive income is where it's at.
All right. If we want to get a hold of you, give us a rundown. Give us your handles and your contact details. Give us that again.
All right. So Instagram.
Yep.
Matt.Glen. What is it? Matt Glen Real Estate.
Right.
And then my phone number, 250-870-0911. Or my email, matt.glen@century21.ca.
And you're happy to talk to anyone.
Oh, yeah.
Buyers,
I love talking
sellers, developers, investors, the whole night. Just anything to do with real estate, you're there.
Yeah, put a beer in my hand. I'll talk about this all night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're cheap. You're good.
I love talking about it. I do talk about it all day anyway, and I would love to do it.
All right. Been my pleasure, man. Thanks for stopping by again. So if you like what you heard, it's been great having Matt in the studio with us. Like, share, make a comment. If you've got any questions, you can hit me up directly on max@smithandsons.ca, and I'd be happy to sort of help out wherever we can. So look, if it's been good information, something that you can sort of use to improve your situation, that's great. And we look forward to bringing you some more information again. Thanks so much.